Hello. So we are about 7 months in to the early access development for Thronefall. I have a few updates for you that I want to talk about. One of the first things is something called the Eternal Trials mode that they added to the game. I didn't like Eternal Trials at first, and I still don't love it, but it has grown on me. This is a mode that you play in stages. You start with a choice of 3 maps with one weapon and 2 perks each, and it's randomized the map and the perks and the weapons. If you beat that map, you get another different choice of 3 maps, weapons, and perks to play next after that one. The only thing that carries over from one stage to the next are the perks. So over time, you are building around these perks. Each stage has more waves than the last one, and each successive wave during the current stage will have more enemies which are randomized. I found myself having some trouble making money since you start over from scratch at the beginning of each stage. None of the buildings carry over, so you just have to start over from nothing. I had to make choices about what to build next since defenses and units are more important than making money. On my second attempt, I was able to get through almost 3 stages before I ended up being defeated. So, why don't I love this mode? In the update, this is touted as an endless mode, and it is, but it's not endless in the way that I was looking for. What I wanted was to play on one map. Over time, you select new perks while enemy waves increase in difficulties. You could do every 5 waves, you pick a new perk or something like that. In addition, once you have fully upgraded your buildings, let's say in archery, you have the maximum number of units that you can have. I think it's 16. If you choose to upgrade that building with gold after that, you won't get more units, but your units will do more damage or have increased health or give them melee or ranged damage resistance. There are plenty of options for how to do this, and this would apply to all buildings like walls and towers. Except for walls and towers, you could probably only do health increases, but that would assist you in later waves not just bashing right through your walls. They can actually stand up and hold back enemies for a little while. All of these upgrade options would have to be balanced, of course, but this is closer to what I imagined this mode would be. I still think Eternal Trials is a good mode, it's just not quite what I wanted. Some new enemies, perks, and buildings have been added to the game. The biggest thing that was added, I think, was a new map called Strumclam, and I like this map. The final boss is very strong. There are statues on the map that you can see from the very beginning that come to life at the end to attack you. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. They're really tough. They have a lot of health. They do a lot of damage. I think they're all carrying axes or something. I tried this map a few times focusing on units, and I couldn't get a win doing that. Then I tried a few times focused on towers, and I did get a win with the towers. There is a new weapon called the Shadow Codex. It's a ranged weapon. You can do a small amount of damage when it hits enemies, and then enemies get cursed after they're hit once. And there's a little yellow circle that appears around cursed enemies so you can see how many you have cursed. All of the cursed enemies get damaged if you attack one of them, which is nice. And then after you curse a bunch of enemies and you use your spacebar ability, all of the cursed enemies take burst damage at once. There's a cooldown between uses, like every other weapon, but this seems very strong. It's good at doing a lot of damage to a lot of enemies all at once. Usually I take the spear, but this one is a close second. I like this weapon. So to wrap up, and I know this video was very short, but I do like where the game is headed overall. I still feel like maps require a particular build to win. So attempting to win with units only would be foolhardy in most cases, not something that you should be doing. Or maybe I'm just building wrong and don't know what I'm talking about with units. But even the melee units feel a bit fragile without perks. The buildings tend to go down really quickly, so you can lose the ability to respawn units when that happens. So I'm kind of. I want there to be a little bit more variety. Like on most, doesn't have to be all maps, uh, but I'd like to see more maps where you can win with units or win with towers or like a mix between them instead of feeling like I have to build in a certain way. Now, I haven't gone through and played every single map focused just on units and see if I can win, and then focus just on towers and walls and see if I can win. I would have to do that to really like test this out. But when I was as I've been playing this over the past 7 months, I have kind of tried to mix in what if I have more units? What if I have more towers? And I always seem to come to the conclusion that, oh yeah, I this map you definitely need towers and walls. You still need the units, but you absolutely have to have the walls. Otherwise, enemies are just going to come right over to your castle. The units cannot handle all your units cannot handle all of the enemy units, and it just you have to build in that way. But I like the game. I like where it's headed. Thronefall is available to wishlist on Steam. I will link it down below. I would encourage you to do so, and I will see you next time.